And I'm thinking maybe, that both, and then the other of us says sides, and then we can
Oh,
together say now. What do you think?
okay.
Shall we try that in the future and
Yeah.
see if we like that?
What
then we
else did
can
I want to do
then we
together?
can have a vote from our audience to say which do you like better, us mangling the end of the name of our program, or do you like a more organized ending?
Yeah, that's actually good. That's actually good.
Yeah. Okay, so politics.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So you
politics.
already
Well,
said, I think before we started recording that,
you want to go back into that? You want to talk about that
but
again?
yeah, I don't know how much you want to divulge as far as within your own household, but um, you had, uh, I
Oh, I
believe
don't
it's
mind.
okay. Yeah, um, that Paul is not too optimistic.
Mm,
So my thing is the reasons why I say that I don't think we're going to have Trump back is because there was a whole thing back in 2016. And I can even get that appeal because so many times elections and decisions to vote are emotional and not well researched.
mhm.
They're also stereotypical and not well researched.
Okay.
I've got neighbors with bumper stickers and flags that read Joe and the hoe must go.
Hmm.
And then they turn around and kiss their wives.
Mhm.
And these people think this is funny.
Mhm.
Yet the economy is way better than under Trump.
Mhm.
And Dina and I on um, lunchtime happy hour, we looked at that, and actually there were aspects of Trump's. Yeah, she got me to admit, even if only temporary, there were aspects of Trump's economy during his tenure that actually weren't that bad. But if you look at it again and realize when an economy moves and how, it's not the president often doesn't have anything to do with it
Mhm.
or his actions, especially because our economy is so heavily based on speculation. Why do prices on the Dow Jones and stock prices of companies fluctuate every day? Did that company do anything majorly different yesterday than it did today? But the price is different. Well, because the Fed is meeting.
Mhm.
I'm still making my widgets the same way I did the other day,
Mhm.
and I'm
Or
in
the weather
profit.
is something. Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah. Why does the Fed have any control over an interest rate that I'm not going to apply for? Let them change the interest rate. But oh, the economy's going to tank. Customarily, economies go down with the immediate election of a Democratic president because they're less friendly towards Wall Street.
Mhm.
I'd say this one's pretty friendly towards Wall Street because
Well,
Wall Street ain't doing too bad.
so what you're saying then, it seems to me, is that the and I hate to say this because I know it's stupid.
That's all
So
right.
then what you're saying is the polls that are showing people like my husband that we might be looking at another 4 years of Trump, we are looking emotionally or stereotypically at what's going on, as opposed
Um,
to really understanding the dynamics of the marketplace, or
Somewhat, but I think the polls that you're seeing right now that come from the media, that come from wherever, are manipulated. When the
well,
media takes a poll, or even these so-called impartial think tank and research
mhm,
facilities take a poll, they know who they're talking to. If your husband is a conservative and I give him the option of picking Nikki Haley versus Donald Trump, knowing that he's probably not a fan of Donald Trump, he's probably going to pick Nikki Haley.
mhm.
And that's a little bit more of a specific example, but also they one of the polls that keeps being brought up is the fact that many voters are concerned about Joe Biden's age. Why?
Mhm.
Because that's the one they're asked about with regards to age. Of course, they're concerned about an 81-year-old man. But let's
Can I
compare him
even?
to the 76 or 78, however old Trump is.
Mm,
This guy rides
I.
a bike and
Mhm,
falls, gets
mhm,
crap for falling off a bike at 81 years old.
and
Nobody
then
said that he got back
gets
up and got
back
back
on the
on,
bike. Yes, and gets back
or
on the
that he,
bike.
unlike the other guy, can ride a bike in the first place, where
I
the
have to
other
tell you
guy gets
something.
on the golf cart and the golf cart leans to the side that fat ass is sitting on.
Right. I have to tell you something. I don't think I mentioned this in a previous episode, but I was listening to Jon Stewart. I love Jon Stewart. His very first show. Okay. And
His
he's
very first
talking
show
about
back,
his
his first
back.
one back. Yeah.
Yeah. His very show back a week or
Who
so
was
ago.
his? Here's a quick trivia question.
Go ahead.
Who was his first guest ever when he was
I
in the
knew
country?
that. Ah. Oh. All right. Tell me I forget.
Howard Stern.
Get out. Really? Oh, I
Yep.
think I was thinking of Colbert's first guest. Now I've forgotten that one too. But
That
wow,
one I actually don't
Howard
know. That's a good
Stern.
question. Yep.
Anyway, I was listening to Jon Stewart, his very first show back, and he's talking about Biden's age and how old he is, And he's saying, "Yes, I mean, we can't not pay attention to that. The guy is old. And so is the other guy. He's real. These are elderly men. They're old. They're going to die." And I'm laughing at him. And all of a sudden it occurs to me, wait a minute. They're talking about me. I'm somewhat in that group. So I forget
Yeah.
that. I'm just saying. I forget that. I forget. And, you
Well,
know,
I think the other
and
thing
so
is people
all the
also.
media who is saying, okay, these people are old and incompetent and they can't do anything anymore, they're talking about me. Hello. I'm still
Yeah.
doing stuff.
Yeah.
I can still complete a sentence. I can still have a
Yeah.
thought that makes sense. And so, what do you mean? Why are you so worried about this? Look at me. I'm doing okay. You know me. And I'm that
Yeah.
age. So, there.
And no, but the other thing between those two particularly is that I always laugh when I see people, this new candidate for president, Jane Stahl. Well, what experience do you have that qualifies you to be president? Zero, because I've never been president yet. There is no job in the world that is anything like being president of the
Mm-hmm.
United States.
Yep.
So when you say, well, I'm going to be great because of this, I'm going to be great because of
Mm-hmm.
that, you're making one of those campaign promises with your
That
mouth
you can't.
that
Yeah.
your ass might not be able to cash.
And you pretty much know that when you make it. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
here's the
But
thing
people want to
about
hear what they want to hear.
here's the thing about Biden over Trump with that. Yeah, they've
Okay.
both been president now. But when it comes down to it, Biden has been president or around a president or a vice president for the past 50 plus years.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's time for him to retire, but it's also time for us to realize the amount of experience that he's got that Trump will literally never have.
Never have. Never. Never. And, I don't think it's any secret that given his druthers, he wouldn't be Biden, wouldn't have run for president, except that he saw the danger that we are facing. So, anyway.
Yeah, I wonder what, because in all possibilities, we could be wrapping up the second term of Hillary Clinton right now,
Mm-hmm.
and probably should be.
Mm-hmm.
I know Biden would have run in 20 because Hillary would have been running for a second term.
Mm-hmm. And he certainly
And,
wouldn't have been trying to run in 2024 had
yeah,
she.
right.
No, no way. Mm-mm.
Who would that be that would be, would be on the ticket now instead?
Yeah, let's talk about that because I don't know. And I'm not versed in politics in the way you are, but there I don't see anybody on the horizon to capture the attention of the American people on either side, honestly. Do
Yeah,
you?
I think Gavin Newsom is going to be in
Yeah.
in the next one. Yeah. I was living in San Francisco when he was first elected to be the mayor. When he was first elected to be the mayor,
Mm-hmm.
and there was him, a guy by the name of Matt Green from the Green Party,
Hmm.
and some other guy were the three major candidates, and a liberal Democrat like Gavin Newsom was the conservative.
Whoa.
That's how far left the other two were. And that gives you an
Wow.
idea, really, what San Francisco is like.
Right.
Um, but that being said, California is not liberal. Everybody calls it the left coast, and
Mm-hmm.
uh, all those the libtards in California. San Diego is conservative.
Hmm.
Anything north of San Francisco, Napa Valley and Russian River Valley, Alexandria Valley, and north. And when I say and north, I mean all the way to Oregon.
Hmm.
And then on what's called the East Bay, uh, east side of Oakland and points east, it's also conservative.
Mm-hmm.
So when you talk about the landmass of California, it's very red.
Hmm.
It's only a purple state because of the population that's between San Francisco, San Jose, and Los Angeles.
Can we
Because even as soon
talk?
as you get to Anaheim, south of Los Angeles and Orange County, you're back to conservatives.
Right. Can we talk about those words for a minute?
Which
I mean,
ones?
everybody's so proud that they're conservative. What the what does that mean? Can we talk about that?
We can try.
What does it mean to
'Cause-
you?
Well,
How's
in
that?
conservative or liberal to me just means a simple stereotype.
Okay, so I mean, there are people around me who are just so proud to call themselves conservative, and I keep my mouth shut, but I keep wanting to say, what exactly does that mean to you? And what exactly does liberal mean to you when you use it in a derogatory term, in a derogatory way? What exactly does that mean? Liberal.
I'm going to pull something up.
Okay. Well, I'll
Um,
chatter.
and
I'll
yeah,
chatter
we'll
while
keep
you
talking
look
because
something up. Anyway, conservative to me, in the very stereotypic terms, is that they want to be frugal with their money. They don't want any spent on, what do you say, self-help kind of things, or issues that give away money to people who aren't working hard. That's what a conservative is to me. They're all about the money. That's what conservative says to me. They want it's a puritanical kind of lifestyle perspective where we have rugged individualism. And if you're not working hard, you're not worthy. There are no circumstances big enough to get in the way of bootstraps, picking yourself up by bootstraps and being a millionaire. To me, those are the kinds of things that conservatives believe. They are interested in hands-off government. Don't tell me what to do. Almost libertarian in a kind of way. Don't tell me what to do. Don't regulate me. Don't put
the
on
funny part
any.
about that one,
Huh?
who is the one kind of known for making our government as big as it is?
Roosevelt?
Well, yeah,
Franklin D.
and he was a Democrat, but Eisenhower increased the size of government.
Well,
Um,
I'm not into parties right now necessarily, but I just want to know what these terms mean, and
yeah,
I just want to know what
But-
these terms mean because I'm not impressed as a
yeah.
human
You
being.
mentioned
As a
the
human being,
use of liberal as a derogatory term,
derogatory term. Yeah, it is loosey
and
goosey, give
we
away
talked about
everything,
yeah,
communism, socialism, um, you know. And to me, liberalism is. I hate to say this, but to me, liberalism is all about the virtues that Christianity espouses. It's
yeah.
human
Oh, yeah.
rights. And
Yep.
why do we negate that? It makes no sense to me at all. It offends me. There. It
Yeah.
offends me.
Well, it and it should, because the Republican Party right now is about says they were about says they're about securing the border, even though Joe Biden sent 3 bills to Congress that would have
Hmm.
secured the border, and they blocked all 3 of them.
And they
When they
blocked
helped
all
write
three of
all
them
3 of them,
and they
Donald
blocked all
Trump
three of
says
them
too.
because Trump told them to, because he wants to use that issue to win the election. So rather than fix the
But I mean,
problem.
it's obvious, and all you have to do is say, "I've done it 3 times," and your party said no.
Hmm.
I done it, and with the third time, with the entire union of the Border Patrol unanimously supporting the bill,
Hmm. Yep.
the actual experts and boots on the ground, and your
Yep.
party said no. Your
Yep.
Christian party, who says that they worship the number one refugee in history,
Hmm.
said no.
The number one
And then,
libtard.
yeah, and then on top of that, how this is no longer a conservative viewpoint of having more open borders. 2 people were once asked about um, what they would do to improve the economy and supply a workforce for jobs like farmhands, orchards,
Mm-hmm.
back of house and restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
janitorial staff, a large number of occupations that were sitting vacant because nobody wanted them. They both answered the question by systematically opening the border. The
Right.
first one was George H.W. Bush, and the second one was Ronald Reagan.
Hmm.
It was when they were debating each other for the 1980 nomination. Now, they're the two most Republican presidents you're going to find. Yet, we got to close the border.
Yeah.
Most
Yeah.
illegal aliens don't cross the border, they fly over it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
It's such a, it's,
we got to build a
yeah.
wall.
Yeah.
The thing I found about we mentioned a moment ago about liberal being used as a derogatory term.
Okay.
Uh, Howard Stern, in his move to Sirius, kind of
Mm-hmm.
changed the format of his show. He's a little bit more now like a Johnny Carson. Like he has
Okay.
celebrity guests on and he interviews a celebrity guest, and he doesn't do Fart Man anymore. He doesn't do some of the comedic bits and phony phone calls and whatever
Mm-hmm.
else that made him famous. They didn't need
Mm-hmm.
to.
Mm-hmm.
And he's okay with that.
Mm-hmm.
But there are certain people who said that's what's bad about him is that, he sold out and has become who he never wanted to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've called him woke because of some of the
Oh,
beliefs he
woke.
does.
Oh, woke.
Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, they called him woke
Now,
because of
talk
some of
about.
the beliefs that he does have. So this is what his response to that was.
Okay.
And this is actually, about my file and
Yes, yes,
about
I have quotes.
everything that
Yes.
appears on my desktop and screensaver. This is one of them. It appeared on Fox News, of course, and the title of the screenshot reads: Howard Stern says he loves being, and then quotes the words woke. And then there's part of his quote. He says, or that I support people who want to be transgender, or that I'm for the vaccine. Dude, call me woke as you fucking want. I'm not for stupidity. I'm a woke motherfucker and I love it.
Ditto.
As you know,
Ditto.
some of us here do not mix words.
No. No.
Quick side note to
No.
our audience
And
that
by the
might
way,
have
I've
just gotten
heard
in a car
all of them.
accident.
I have
Yeah.
heard all of them and use them on occasion.
Well, I forget who was. I think I might have been telling Amy that part of the fun dynamic between the two of us is that here I can sometimes get the opportunity to swear in front of one of my teachers. And the fun part for you is that you don't have to do anything about it.
I don't have to
We're not
do
a Jew
anything
in the
about it.
West anymore.
Yeah, and I'm trying to be the way that people remember me for the most
As
part.
if your persona here,
I'm trying to be
I'd
because
say,
when I retired, I think I told you this before. When I retired, I said to myself, okay, now I can be freer. I can be freer with my language. I can be freer with my behavior. I can be a little bit more authentic. Well, I tried that for just a little while and it upset people. So I kind of withdrew
really?
again. Yes.
At the closing, the outgoing song, and I think I'm going to change the song because I want something a little bit more rock and roll or upbeat.
Okay.
Um, have you actually listened to any of David Beckmeyer's episodes
Beyond the
where
one
you
that we
see his
recorded?
intro?
No, no, no.
Okay, no, I mean like the ones that he records for his podcast.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, yes, yes. Uh-huh.
he's got that really upbeat song at
Yeah,
the
yeah,
beginning
yeah.
of it. I don't know what kind of genre of music that would be. Um,
Probably
kind of like,
pop. Of all the
yeah.
genres that I'm aware of.
I mean, it's. I mean, I would expect to hear that playing in the background at like Starbucks or a local bookstore,
Mm-hmm.
like Poetry and Prose, I think, or whatever that one up in Chevy
Mm-hmm.
Chase, DC is, that all the former presidents go to for a book signing. It's just very upbeat, but it's um, I don't even know what instruments. There's probably an acoustic guitar in there,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and whatever. But I want to get. There was one. As I've told you before, so much of what I do in my life is cryptic, Illuminati esque kind of thing. Right
Woo!
now, my
Love
intro
it.
song is
I
the
love
beginning.
that.
It's Stephen Hawking from Pink Floyd, and it's the title of the song is "Keep Talking." Well, it's a talk
Mm.
show on talk
Yeah, yeah.
radio and a
Yeah,
podcast,
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah, yeah.
it
Keep
fits for that
talking.
reason.
Yeah. Sounds
But
good.
as psychedelic as Pink Floyd is, I'd like to bring back something that's a little bit more like another one I used,
Mm.
which was from the Alan Parsons Project, and that was also just an instrumental portion, but was entitled "Sirius," as in the same serious spelling as Sirius XM. You know, a place
Oh,
I would obviously love to go someday,
yes.
to take mine or somebody's show.
Yep.
It got zapped on YouTube for copyright, and
Okay.
so I switched to the Pink Floyd, which was also finally recently zapped. But Pink Floyd actually allows that to be used on YouTube, so
Ah.
hasn't been an issue with it. But yeah, I'm
So
trying to
you're
be
looking
more
for different
upbeat.
music for us. Something
Yeah,
whimsical, something light,
no,
something.
not for us. I love
Oh, not
ours.
for us. Okay.
Yeah, no, I
I
love the piano
misunderstood.
from both sides now, and I'm talking about for mine,
Oh, further.
my radio show.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, they. I forget. I don't realize why I got on the top of the song, but these two presidents, Bush and Reagan, probably the most Republican presidents we've seen, at least in any modern age,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
are total opposites of the Republican Party today.
Right. Oh, the Republican Party is gone. It's the Trump cult party.
Yeah.
So
That
yeah.
girl I told you about before
Yes.
we started
The one.
recording the
Yep.
last
Yep.
episode,
Yep.
she manages a not for profit that I'm helping out with that's going to offer some podcast sound booths to record at. She's a former Trumper, one of the hardcore Trumpers,
Flags.
and to the point where, yeah, flags on her back of her pickup truck. Very
Wow. She's
Florida girl.
serious. Yeah.
Um, and would be the one. She actually said, she would stand out on street corners with a bullhorn, you know,
Wow.
doing the whole blowhard stuff for pro Trump. And when he tried to deny having any serious involvement with Jeffrey Epstein, she's like, dude, seriously? There you are with
Oh.
your arm around the guy.
Mm-hmm.
Here you are in another photo with
Mm-hmm.
your arm around the guy. Don't tell me this was just because it was a photo op because you were Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
No, this was before The Apprentice.
Mm-hmm.
This was before anything of real cause for your fame. The only thing that got him fame prior to that was that, he was a loudmouth,
Mm-hmm.
and little known secret, he actually paid for a lot of the publicity that he got.
Mm.
So she really became disenchanted with it. Took a more serious look
Mhm.
at
Yeah.
the beliefs of the party as his campaign, and she's like, "This doesn't make any sense." And I asked her, "Is it a cult?" She just smiled and said, I'm not in it anymore.
No kidding.
She lost her engagement over that issue. She
Wow.
was engaged to another Trump supporter who could not see the end of the tunnel,
Right.
and so she broke the engagement.
Wow.
And I said,
Well,
and that's my. We were talking earlier in this episode about, is it going to be a landslide? Is he going to win the White House back? What's really going to happen? Phil Repko, when he was with us, made a very good point, and I knew this, but I didn't really realize it or know how to say it the way he did. You've seen people on the Trump train back in 2016 when it was probably standing room only on the train. By 2020, there was some room for some seats compared to now. And he asked the question, he goes, did you ever see anybody get
join.
back on?
Mhm.
And no. And I last week, one of my episodes, as you know, my radio show is also on video. And so I was pulling up some photos of some of his events. They were empty.
Back in
And here,
16
this,
or
no, now,
now?
now,
Well, I just know
last week
that
in South Carolina.
Also,
Oh, he's done with the check.
hi, Paul, you're on your way home. I'm talking to Ross.
gotcha. Bye.
Bye. Anyway, I would guess that we've got an episode here of some length. But
We do.
before we go, that was my husband on the phone. I don't know if Ross is going to edit out that brief conversation, but if he doesn't, uh, I was surprised, I guess, in watching the body language and the facial expressions of the MSNBC pundits at the end of the day on Saturday after the South Carolina primary. And they, in my opinion, looked and sounded pretty defeated. And I can appreciate that. I mean, never mind that the Trump fever is still raging. Never mind that. But, to think that it's even an issue, that there are people who
Yeah.
still support this man, is unbelievable to me. And so even if he loses, the country is a mess, in my opinion, because of their support and allegiance and belief in the things that he has modeled over the past however many years it's been. I'm very discouraged. And I saw not only in the pundits' faces, but also in my husband's words and phrases, that he's basically saying to me, get ready for another Trump presidency. And yeah. So
Now, if I remember this correctly, your husband is conservative by and
yes,
large,
yes,
but not a Trump fan.
correct.
Okay. Yeah. I think that's a growing. I think that what you're hearing is the loud portion of the Republican Party, or what's left of it. I
Yeah.
think there's a big majority of either pissed off Republicans, and I'll talk about that in a second, or now left leaning independents who know better. But the thing that he's got to deal with now is that he did not have the percentage in Iowa that he did in 2016 or 2020. And he did not have the percentage in Vermont. Or sorry, which one was, I'm sorry, New
New
Hampshire.
Hampshire. Mm-hmm.
that he did in the other years, 16 especially, when it was a real primary, not a re-election for him.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't have the level in South Carolina. He's winning. And as Gavin Newsom said in a recent interview, let's face it, he's going to be the nominee.
Mm-hmm.
But he's not doing well. And he's not doing as well as what he did in the past.
Well, I
So
can
if
only
that's
hope.
indicative. And
I
the
can.
other thing is and this is the frustrating thing about the media, is that there's these stories that get out, but not en masse, and not to the level that if they were being real journalists, they would make sure that it got out more. There are people from inside his current legal camp or former members of his current legal team who have said he's on the brink of going batshit crazy because he's scared.
Mm-hmm.
He has not won a single decision without those personal favors given to him by Eileen Cannon
Mm-hmm.
down in, I think that's Florida.
Yeah, it must be Mar-a-Lago. Yeah.
Yeah. And I wouldn't be surprised if she was on her way out too. She has had 2 of those favors overturned by the whatever it is Circuit Court of Appeals.
Right. I can only
I mean,
hope.
come on,
I
3
can
strikes.
only hope that those people, those Republicans who are still voting his way, when they get in the voting booth, will finally feel safe to say no way.
That
That's
I don't
my
think
own.
is going to
That's
happen. I think there's still going to
yeah.
be, I suspect there's still going to be a turnout. And I suspect that because just like him, those followers who are left aren't wavering. They're digging their heels in even deeper.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, David Beckmeyer from Outrage Overload said that the tribalism that's going on right now has gone from a differences in political opinion to a separation to I'm right, you're wrong, to I'm right and smart enough, you're wrong and stupid. But I really do believe that a large chunk of the people, my neighbors who support him, are not smart enough to even tell me why without regurgitating his campaign rhetoric.
Mm-hmm.
You know, one of my tag phrases from earlier in the episode, and you asked about, by the way, what does Republican or Democrat, conservative, or liberal mean to you? 37% of Republicans, not of the whole country, but of Republicans, are for abortion. They're pro-choice, not pro-life. 20% of Democrats carry a gun, not are pro-Second Amendment, carry a gun. Neither of those are anywhere close to party lines.
Mm-hmm.
But I said that there's no excuses anymore. I get the appeal in 2016, but the thing about doing your homework, which is what I try to teach in Up the Middle,
Mm-hmm.
I say my tagline for that one was, you no longer have to be able to spell Google to be able to use it.
Use Google. Right.
Back in the day, you actually had to type google.com
Mm-hmm.
onto the address bar. Now you just type into the address bar whatever you want to search.
Right.
So there's no reason why, even if you do the whole hunt and peck 2-finger typing, why you can't do some level of research and decide what is it really about this guy.
Well, that's, yeah. It's politics is entertainment today. It's not about information. It's not about research. It's about what feeds my emotional state. And so, given an outlet for outrage is what is happening, is what
Yeah.
Donald Trump allows. He allows an outlet for outrage and hatred and resentment, and uses fear to get there. And that's what people want. They don't. It's an addiction. It's an addiction to entertainment. It's an addiction to the highs of whatever life provides, because life is hard and it's a lot of boring. And so to escape that, we have a lot of drug use, we have a lot of risky behavior, we have a lot of outrage, because that's more fun. Sadly, it seems to me.
Yeah.
It seems to me. That's
my
it seems to
boring
me.
informational shows don't get the ratings that the show
There
that I
you
have
go.
with Psychic.
That's exactly right. That's exactly
But
right.
I still strongly believe. You asked me this earlier this past fall. Will Up the Middle and now my radio shows that kind of support it ever really take off? I had a conversation 2 weeks ago with a girl, Julie Rose, I forget her last name, from NPR. And she actually left radio and went into podcasting, the opposite of what I'm doing, because she felt that the audience is going to be more in podcasting and on demand than I'm trying to find the actual than radio, who gets it, when you have to tune in. And I said, no, they're different audiences. But we also agreed that neither of us is really going to take off until it's probably too late. That because her political stances and
I'd agree.
her purpose
Yep.
is very similar to mine. And I wanted to find it. Julie Rose. It is Julie Rose. Yeah, Julie Rose. Her stances are very similar to mine. We represent the middle. We represent people who are either independent because their beliefs don't fully match either party, or independent because they want to be able to switch with the better candidate, or are disgruntled with whatever party they used to be with.
Yep.
But ultimately, we represent that very large segment in the middle who isn't into, as David Beckmeyer calls, anger porn. So I see them joining us later this year, hopefully in time to make an educated decision.
One could hope.
With that,
it's time.
Once again,
I'm Jane
Where
Stahl.
can we find you? We haven't done that in a little while.
Okay. So you can find me on your favorite podcast platform, on my own show, my own podcast, Be Inspired, which I'm delighted, tickled. That's the word I keep using. I'm tickled to know that Be Inspired episodes are now available on what Ross calls terrestrial radio in the Atlanta area on 99.1 W, help me,
99.1 WDJY.
DJY. There you go. So that's where you can find me. Obviously, You can find me, my art gallery on studiobbb.org, and our digital newsletter that I help to create with my former colleague Leslie Misko, the Boyertown Area Expression .town.news. That's where you can find me. How's that?
Awesome. And you
And
can
you?
find me one of two very easy places. Well, actually three. Here, of course, available on Yerg's Radio. I'm going to be redoing the schedule, so I'm not going to say when we play. Right now, we're in the
Okay.
morning. We'll probably say somewhere in the morning, but on Yerg's Radio, available at Yerg's, YERGZ, radio.com. And also, you can find me simply at yergs.com, same spelling. And you can find out about any podcast, radio show, public speaking, whatever I'm up to this week.
Whatever you're up to.
An occasional
Okay,
nap.
so an
Yeah.
occasional nap, for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm Jane Stahl,
And I'm Yergs.
and this is
Both
Sides
Uh-oh. Now.
Now. Until
See
next
everybody.
time, folks. Bye-bye.
Yeah.